Here is the list of the best hacking distros in 2026 that you can choose. Again, remember, this list is just pure based on what I did research on and what I've used. The most popular ones you can already see are Kali, Parrot, and BlackArch. I assume if you are into cybersecurity, you kind of expected those three to appear. At the end, I'm going to also tell you what you should choose, again, for certification, maybe for job, why you should choose, why it doesn't matter that much if you decide to use something else. Let's get started immediately. So, Kali Linux, number one, of course, here we can see is the industry standard, right? Why I put Kali Linux in here? So, this reason is pretty simple actually. It's maintained by OPSEC, which means Kali is the gold standard, right, for pen testing. It's backed by 600 plus tools and official OSCP and OSCP certification support. What does it mean? So, first of all, if you didn't know, Kali Linux, the people who made Kali Linux also make one of the most popular and arguably the hardest, again, it depends on your opinion, but arguably the hardest certification for pen testers, which is OSCP. Now, if you use Kali, you also know that you will constantly have good support, good updates, basically updates as soon as possible. That is very important to know because when choosing a Linux distro for pen testing or cybersecurity in general, you want to make sure that you choose one that's popular because the popular ones get updates a lot and the ones that are not popular usually can be forgotten. That's why even though you can use technically any Linux you want, choosing, for example, for your home, right? If you want to work from home, let's say, and you just want Linux, you don't need pen testing. Most people choose Ubuntu, for example. Why? It's not because Ubuntu is very great or whatever. It's just popular. And distro being popular means there is a big community around it, and Kali has very, very big community. A lot of tools, very good. The main strength is that, again, as I said, unmatched community, right? It's very stable. It has very good documentation. You can read it online, obviously. It has a lot of hardware compatibility. There are a lot of built-in tools, like physical tools, for example, Wi-Fi adapter, etc., that instantly just work with Kali. It's plug and play, meaning you don't need to tinker with anything. You don't need any special equipment. You don't need to install even drivers. It just works straight away. And the one thing that I personally like about Kali is using it on live USB flash drive, meaning you don't need to install it. All you need is USB drive, and wherever you go and you see a PC, you can just instantly plug, use it for whatever you need, for maybe simple pen test or whatever, or demonstration, and then you can leave. That's pretty much the best thing that you can find about Kali. Obviously, the worst part of Kali is that it's not designed for daily use. Technically, you could use it for daily stuff, but it's just not necessary because it's bloated with tools that most users never touch. So if you're just a basic user, if you're a developer, if you just want to try Linux, then Kali is definitely not for you. It just has so much bloat that is unnecessary. And because it has so many security tools installed, if someone maybe gets a hold of your PC or if someone hacks through your computer, they can use those tools against you. So there is also a safety concern about it. So make sure to just not use it for daily. If you want to use it for work, pen testing, bug bounty, it's perfect, pretty much the best option you have right now. And another one small drawback, it's not the best on older hardware. So for example, a 4 GB RAM laptops with an Intel Celeron, let's say, chips, right? The ones that are weak. It's going to run, but it's not going to be better than, for example, Parrot that we're going to talk about next. Next, as I said, Parrot OS. It's privacy-focused powerhouse. It's very good. Parrot, basically what it does, well, is it balances high-end security tooling with anonymity and everyday usability. So technically, because Parrot OS has security and also home edition, you could just be a good basic Linux user. You could play your video games, you could edit your videos, you could code, you could do everything using Parrot because there is a specific edition on Parrot that can be a good balance between both. So if you're that kind of person who just wants to have one OS and doesn't want to juggle between, for example, VirtualBox and having virtualization or having two computers, one for pen testing, etc., and you just want one operating system, you know that most of your job is related to cybersecurity, but you also want to read emails, you want to play some video games, you want to edit videos, you want to do whatever, then I would definitely recommend going for Parrot Home Edition. Even Security Edition is not that bad. It's probably a little bit better choice. Also, it's much lighter, which means it can work better on older hardware. The same laptop I mentioned, it's 4 gigabytes of RAM. Parrot is going to run pretty much better on that. And I know this because I've personally tested it on older laptop. While I had my old laptop, I tried installing both. Parrot ran much smoother. Obviously, the bigger issue is that it has smaller community. Well, it's good. It arguably has just more tools actually than Kali Linux. If you go full security pen test mode, the community is a bit smaller. So if you go to forums, you ask for help, etc., you'll probably get responses a bit later. And if you decide to do, let's say, online certifications or whatever, and certification maker, like they provide you some kind of browser-based operating system to test on, most of the time it's just not going to be, let's say, the best option, right? Which is why you should remember again, because smaller community, it's not the greatest idea to use it if you just want like that. So I would advise you to stay with Kali if you plan on doing a lot of online certification, since most of them just provide the online certification, specifically like a browser-based Kali distro. So I would just say if you are into that kind of thing, then probably Parrot is not for you. But overall, it's very good. And as I said, can be a good daily driver unlike Kali Linux. And BlackArch Linux, it's the experts arsenal, as we call. So basically, BlackArch is the hardest here. So if you're a beginner, let's say, and you just got into pen testing, or you got your first job, or you're just learning, definitely stay away from this because it has Arch in it, and it's not about the memes that I use Arch or whatever. Arch is genuinely, it has very good thing about it because we're using Arch. In this case, just BlackArch repository on top of it. You get rolling release updates, which means the very first update that happened on Linux, you get it as an Arch user. Great, perfect. But it's pretty difficult to use. It's also light, it's good, but it's good for experienced users and definitely not the best daily driver as well. So just like Kali, it's just better stick with pen testing. If you have a personal preference for Arch-based repository, Arch-based Linux distros, instead of maybe Debian's like the way Kali or Ubuntu or Parrot are, then yes, Arch is good. But again, use BlackArch only if you are not a beginner and you have at least some experience with pen testing and you have some experience with Linux. I would definitely not advise to use this first. Even the installation process can be a bit difficult, unlike Kali and Parrot where you just click with mouse and you're done, like after 5 steps. It can be a bit trickier, but it has a lot of good things. And again, I said it has very like steep learning curve, so be careful if you want to use it. At least give it a month or two before, like learn Kali or Parrot first. But remember, it's a powerhouse. It's personally my favorite because it's just so good. But again, stay away from it if you're a beginner and you're just looking for what to install. Next, why I would say that Kali wins objectively. So certification alignment, right? Because 99% of OSCP labs, which I assume if you are into certifications, you're interested in this one as well. Training platforms, CTF environments are built and tested on Kali specifically. So if you use Kali, you have less troubleshooting to do and more hacking, less wasting time doing anything else. Reproducibility, right? Standardized environments let teams and students reproduce results without friction, and it's critical for professional engagements. And ecosystem depth, so deep integration with professional workflows, vendor support, and an unmatched library of community guides and plugins. That's why I would say Kali objectively wins if we're just talking objective facts and not trying to be biased. Even though if I was biased, I would say BlackArch is number 1. I should definitely say that Kali just wins straight up. So, the truth about pen testing. Now, I want you to also know, probably if you clicked on this video, you're interested in what to install, or you're a beginner, or you just want a tier list. Remember that you can perform an actual pen test on any Linux distro. You can even do it on Mac, technically. Windows is a bit trickier, but let's not go there. So, it doesn't matter. The difference between Kali, let's say, and other Linux distros, that, for example, Ubuntu or Manjaro, is that Kali comes with a lot of tools pre-installed, so it saves you time. That's it. If you want to be a pen tester and if you want to have a completely custom, let's say, OS to yourself, you can just install an Ubuntu or some other distro, doesn't matter, and install only the tools you need yourself. Every time you want to use a tool, you don't have it, see, Google, find out, use AI, use whatever you need to learn how to install it, and then use it. You might have some problems with troubleshooting. Some things may not be the best, very compatible, but you can do pen testing on literally any Linux distro. It doesn't matter. You can do even on the most forgotten Linux distros. Linux is open source. You can just compile Linux yourself and pen test on that if you want, technically. So don't think that you need Kali to be a pen tester. Not at all. It just makes our job much, much easier. And choosing your path in 2026. So remember, certifications and labs. If this is something you're really interested in, just choose Kali Linux and don't even think about it. Ecosystem documentation, everything's built around it. It's perfect. If you want privacy and also daily use, basically you want two at the same time combined, Parrot is definitely the one you should go for. And advanced customizations, being able to use Arch and get the very first updates, and having something that's a bit more difficult but has basically unlimited potential. After you spend a bit more time with Kali and Parrot, you can definitely try BlackArch as well. You probably won't fall the credit. And remember, again, the best tool is the one that you know how to configure. So don't think that you need to listen to what I said. All I'm saying is, objectively, Kali is the best. And that will be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.